Hi everyone, this is Miss Mayorga again. This is video for lesson 22, collisions. For this lesson, we're going to be taking a look at the question, how can programmers build on abstractions to create further abstractions? And our objectives are model different types of interactions between sprites and describe how abstractions can be built upon to develop even further abstractions. So this word abstractions is showing up a lot, and basically an abstraction is a simplified representation of something more complex. Abstractions allow us to hide details to help you manage complexity, focus on relevant concepts, and reason about programs at a higher level. So we have already actually worked with abstractions. We worked with the Sprite is touching block. All right, so in this block, with this lesson that we did, lesson 19, there was a bubble where we looked at the complicated math code, or the complicated code that involved lots of math, in order to create this block. But we are just using this block, the abstraction of that. So we're using a simplified version of that complicated code to make it easier for us to code, to make it easier for us to look at problems, debug, and look at what we're doing. Today we're going to be looking at 4 new abstractions, or 4 new blocks, which are these collision blocks: bounce, bounce off, collide, displace. If you're in my class, you're going to be completing bubbles 1 through 8, or you should have already completed bubbles 1 through 8, but you should work on bubbles 1 through 8. For bubble 7, I'm having you complete all 4 activities. Bubble 8 will be graded, and bubble 9 is an optional challenge, right? If you are finishing this after I've graded it, which I already graded this, please message me, let me know that you have finished it so I can go back and check it. Here's a little sneak peek at things you can do after today's lesson. If it plays, there we go. The UFO and the little monsters right there pushing the cupcake. UFO bounced off. Ta-da! Okay, let's get started. Code, lesson 22. I'm going to go straight to bubble 2. Okay, sprite interactions. So far, you've been able to create simple sprite interactions by using the sprite is touching block. For example, you reset a coin to a different location on the screen where a character touches it. Now it's time to, when a character touches it. Now it's time to start making sprites have more complex interactions. Do this, run the program and observe the interaction between the sprites. All right, run the program. Giraffe, monkey, the monkey's not moving. Giraffe is moving. And now they're both moving. Discuss with the neighbor, with yourself, with me, with the class. Using only the commands you already know, how could you create this kind of interaction? There are many ways to do it, but here are some blocks to consider. Sprite is touching, sprite velocity X, sprite velocity Y, sprite X, sprite Y. All right, how can we create this interaction? How can we create this interaction? Think about that. All right, so we would definitely need the is touching block, right? We need to check to see if the giraffe is touching the monkey. And then we need to make the monkey move. How do we make the monkey move? We can use the counter pattern with the X, sprite.x, or we can use the velocity X block, right? So we want to basically have the monkey's velocity. Once the giraffe touches the monkey, the velocity of the monkey should be the same as the giraffe. So it looks like the giraffe is pushing it, but really they're just both moving at the same velocity. So let's go ahead and actually code that out on bubble 3. Program a sprite interaction. Okay, hold on, give me a second. I don't want the code to hide behind my face. Okay. Program a sprite interaction. Here's a similar program, but it doesn't work yet. Use your plan to program the giraffe to push the monkey off the screen. Okay. So we said we would need an if statement. We need to check if the giraffe is touching the monkey. If, oops, I need to add my sprite. If giraffe is touching monkey, so sprite is touching. Giraffe is touching monkey. If the giraffe touches the monkey's velocity should be the same as the giraffe. So we need velocity x, monkey, and can we find the velocity of the giraffe? Go ahead and take a look at your code. Where is the velocity of the giraffe? Line 4, the giraffe velocity is set to 1. So the monkey velocity should also be set to 1. Okay. So now when the giraffe touches the monkey should start moving. There it goes. Okay, so that was nice and easy because every time we run the program, the giraffe velocity is 1, so we know we can set the monkey velocity to 1 and it'll be the same. But what if the giraffe has a different velocity each time? Let's see what happens. Write your own sprite interaction. Now the elephant should push the hippo off the screen. Okay, so sorry, we're dealing with different animals, same situation, but different animals. Now the elephant should push the hippo off the screen. Notice that the elephant moves at a random y velocity each time the program runs. So line 5, here elephant velocity y is a random number between -3 and -1. Run the program to see how it works. Using the patterns from the last level, write the code that makes the elephant push the hippo off the screen. Okay, so just like the last bubble or the last level, we need our if statement. And what are we checking for again? What do we have to check? If the elephant is touching the hippo. Yeah, if the elephant is touching hippo. If elephant is touching hippo. Okay, now if the elephant is touching the hippo, we need to change the velocity of the hippo. We need to define the velocity of the hippo. The question now becomes, what do we set the velocity of the hippo equal to? What should it be equal to? Go ahead and pause my video, try out a few things, and then come back. Okay, so some things that you might have tried, or some of the things that my kids tried were setting it to a specific value, -2, right? Oh, I'm sorry, I made a little mistake. We're moving in the up direction, so you might have caught this. I'm sorry, you might have caught this. Since we're moving in the up direction, we need velocity y, not velocity x. Velocity y. All right. So if you caught that, great job. If you didn't, we need to pay more attention to the details. But that's why we run our program and we debug and we fix things. All right. So that's totally fine. So again, this is for the hippo. So again, make sure you change this block to velocity y. Velocity y. Right, so that seemed to work for here, but I'm going to run the program again. When my elephant is moving a little bit slower, my hippo starts to move kind of away because it's moving faster. -2 is faster. All right, again, now if my elephant is going super fast, okay, I think they're both going at -2. I'm trying to make it go faster. Here, faster. The elephant starts to go underneath the hippo. So we have a problem here. We can't just set it to a specific number because the velocity of the elephant is a random number between -3 and -1. So the other idea was, okay, well, let's set the hippo velocity to a random number between -3 and -1. Now you could do that, but it's not going to be guaranteed that the computer is going to choose the same random number for both. For the hippo or for the elephant, it might choose -3, and then for the hippo, it might choose -1. We want these to be the same every time. So what we can do instead is set the hippo's velocity equal to the elephant's velocity y. So grab another velocity y block, put it on the other side. Elephant, excuse me. And now, no matter what the velocity the computer chooses for the elephant, the hippo is going to be the same. So hippo velocity y is set to the elephant velocity y. There it goes. You can try it again. It should work. There you go. And continuing on. Okay, displace. This type of Sprite interaction is so common there's a block for it, Sprite.displace. Someone tried to use the Sprite displace block to make the elephant push the hippo, but there's a bug. Elephant push hippo. The hippo's pushing the elephant. We want the other way around. Do this. Find the line of code where the Sprite.displace block is used and fix the error. Okay, we want the elephant to push the hippo. So here we have hippo displace elephant. So how do we fix this? How do we make the elephant push the hippo? Right, by switching the words, right? Switching the sprite and the target. So sprite displace target. We want the sprite to be elephant and the target to be hippo. We want the elephant to be doing the displacement. Displace means to remove from its original place. Right, so the elephant is displacing the hippo. And that's it, right? This is the displace block. Go ahead and click finish. With the displace block, both sprites are moving at the same velocity, right? One is pushing the other. They're both moving at the same velocity. Now we have, now we have more collision blocks. 3 new types of sprite interactions have been added to the toolbox: sprite collide, sprite bounce off. How do you think they'll affect the sprites? Do this. Switch out the displace blocks for the sprite collide, sprite bounce, and sprite bounce off blocks. Hint, if you're having trouble doing this with blocks, then switch over to text mode. Discuss with your neighbor what's the difference between the 4 sprite interactions. Okay. I will be switching over to text mode for this, so if you want to switch over with me, that would be helpful. Right now we're starting with displace parrot.displace penguin. So the parrot is pushing the penguin, as you can see. Parrot push penguin. I'm going to go to show text mode. If you don't want to go to text mode, you're going to have to remove the block here, delete it, and then replace it with one of the other blocks, one at a time. So you're going to have to do that over one at a time, over and over. I'm going to keep that here and go to show text. This way I can go to line 12 and I just have to change this one word. Displace, now I'm going to try bounce. All right, so I'm going to highlight that and now I'm going to type bounce. Parrot, bounce, penguin. Parrot, bounce, penguin. Let's see what's going on. Boop. The parrot is going to the right, the penguin's going to the left. And then once they bounce, they switch directions. They switch what they're doing. All right, I want to show you one thing. They're not just bouncing off of each other, they're switching their movements with each other. So if the penguin, you don't have to do this, I'm just going to show you. If the penguin is standing still and the parrot is moving, when they hit, now the parrot stands still and the penguin moves in the direction that the parrot was moving. So they're basically switching, they're trading velocities. All right. So when you bounce, you trade velocities. All right. So let me go ahead and change that back. This was -2. Hit, bounce, trade. That's what bounce does. All right. Let's try bounce off. Bounce off. I don't need to delete anything. I just need to add OFF. Capital OFF. So literally what the word says, bounce off. The parrot, bounce off penguin. Parrot, bounce off penguin. So the penguin continues in the same direction, but the parrot is the one that switches. Boop. All right. And now the last one is collide. So let me go ahead and change the word here. Collide. Parrot collide with penguin. Parrot collide with penguin. Parrot collide penguin. So this one looks kind of like displace, but what's happening is that the sprite that collides with the target, the sprite will then, parrot will do the same thing that the target was doing. So since the target was moving to the left, now the sprite is moving to the left, right? And those are the 4 collision blocks, and we will pick up on the next bubble in the next video because I'm running out of time. See you in part 2.